Welcome back, boys. We had some tech issues pushing us back a day, but we're not going to let that stop us. We're going to wish everyone a happy Halloween. We hope it went better than it went for Mike McDaniels and the Raiders GM last night. And here to give you all the action that took place over week 8. No buys this week, so a lot of high scoring action. Nick, welcome back to the show. How are things going over there?
It's going pretty well. Happy Halloween, everybody. It was snowing here yesterday and it's like 30 something degrees today, so it's cold as shit now.
Yeah, it is cold as shit. Not too happy about it, but it is true football weather is officially run the ball weather. So we'll see how that affects things going forward. But without any further ado, we're going to go ahead and get right into our first game of the week. First up, we had Glizz Mafia making a big statement, getting the Kiffin Award this week with 185 to 110 to take down a Sick Mistakes as they improved to 5-3. And now both these teams sit tied atop the Michigan division.
Let's talk wide receivers here. All right. I want everybody here to give a quick round of applause for AJ Brown. All right. If you guys didn't know, you've been living under a rock. AJ Brown just set the NFL record for the most consecutive games with 125 plus receiving yards. So shout out AJ Brown for the immaculate tear that you've been on recently. Also want to shout out CeeDee Lamb, go off king. This man also helped me win in my work league this week as we took down the #1 team. Yes, contrary to popular beliefs, I am allowed to enjoy things. And he put up around 160 yards, 2 touchdowns, and that absolute beatdown of the Los Angeles Rams. So shout out CeeDee Lamb for showing out. While we're on the topic of receivers, Jordan Addison has been on an absolute tear since Justin Jefferson went down with that. I think it was a high ankle sprain or something along those lines. But he's been incredible for the couple weeks he's had to fill in. Another 20-point performance, scored another touchdown. And oh, by the way, Cleesby also had another receiver who went off this week who was chilling down on his bench. DeAndre Hopkins. Want to make sure that we shout him out as he was able to get into the end zone for the first time this year. And he did it not once, not twice, but 3 times in Will Levis's debut for the Tennessee Titans. So we just wanted to shout out all the receivers. They really carried Glizz Mafia this week as they put up 186 points, taking home the Kiffin Award.
Yeah, great performance indeed from Glizz Mafia. On the flip side here, Sick Mistakes. Not the kind of performance we're used to seeing out of the team this year. They dropped a crucial one. Does look like their playoff hopes are less certain than they were previously, but still in a very good spot on the year. Shouldn't be hitting the panic button yet by any means. Jalen Hurts did have himself a good day. Was able to get 4 touchdowns, able to get 33 points total. But even him and everyone else, you see a lot of single-digit performances. Not the greatest weeks. Texans defense did have a nice day, but just much better performances on the bench. As you see, Sam Howell, 39, a lot more people. Pittman and Zach Moss were left on the bench. Really could have helped this team out this week. Probably still would have not been enough. They fall at 5-3 now. Like I said, it's going to be a bit more of a dog race for the division coming on the stretch here. So we'll be able to see what kind of damage they're able to do. Moving on to our second game of the week, we had always intense rivalry, not a rivalry, but still an intense matchup nonetheless. Francy Feast cruised to 3-5, taking down the Pams 131-97 victory.
I always love talking about Francy Feast as they are easily my second favorite organization in this entire league. Yes, I am allowed to say that. We do want to start, though, with some devastating news. You see at the top here, Kirk Cousins tears his Achilles. He's out for the season. Honestly, this is just devastating news as a football fan in general. Kirk Cousins was having one of his best years. He's in a contract year, pending free agent. So, we just wish Kirk the best in his recovery and really hope that he's able to secure that new contract at the end of the season. He's going to be back playing football next year. Let's talk about the running backs here. Bijan and Derrick Henry both had decent days. Bijan Robinson finding the end zone, which what I believe was his first rushing touchdown of the season. Derrick Henry also adding 100 yards on the ground, a nice 16.7 points. So you love to see that. It's Francy Feast. Also, unfortunately, wanted to point out another injury that happened here to Darren Waller, as he ended up getting hurt, I think, pretty early on in that New York Giants Jets shit show of a game. Really hope that's nothing serious and he's be able to get back onto the football field. I know that the Giants and Francy Feast really need him to get back performing. But on the positive side of the tight ends, George Kittle filling in at flex this week, 25 points, 150 yards. The 49ers didn't get the win, but he showed out in great fashion. 130 points here for Francy Feast. Pretty solid week as they were able to get themselves back and with their winning ways here.
Yeah, it was good week for Francy Feast. We would like to second the sentiment of a speedy recovery for Mr. 4-0. We'd love to see him getting back to playing football as quickly as possible. On the flip side here, Pams, they would drop a devastating one, and they are really running out of opportunities to save their season here. They had a couple good days out of Lamar Jackson and Pollard in real football. However, it did not necessarily translate to any fantasy production. And then outside of them, just really not enough to get the job done. As you see a lot of single-digit performances, especially from the middle of their lineup. A few good performances down at the end. Ayuk had himself a pretty good day. But Cooper Kupp, second disappointing week in a row. Definitely something to monitor for this team. They're now currently sitting tied for last place in the league. Obviously not where they want to be sitting. We'll see if they can do anything to play any better down the stretch here and avoid the lake. But longtime fans of this league would know that that is not something to put your belief into. All right. Third matchup of the week, we had Philly Cheekles still fighting to get the playoff spot. I do believe they just sit outside currently still, but a big victory, 160 to 150 over WallessPluto to keep them off their backs a little bit.
So this had to be easily the most exciting game of the week, because there was actually a little bit of tension on Monday night with those Leones playing. Jay Herbo here, he's had a couple good weeks he's thrown together. Granted, a lot of people have great weeks when you play Chicago, but he showed out 300 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. Great to see. Travis Etienne just continues to find the end zone, man. This guy scored again for what's his 4th consecutive week. 30 points again. He's just been incredible. Jonathan Taylor almost rushed for 100 yards, so wanted to make sure that we shouted him out. Wilson and Smitty both had pretty good days from the receivers. You get 16.6 points out of Wilson. Granted, getting able to get some of those yards at the end of that game with that weird, I don't know if anybody else saw that ending of that Jets game. Really weird ending with the missed field goal and then the 2 shot plays to get him in a field goal range to send that thing into overtime. And then also Devonta Smith nearly topping 100 yards and a touchdown. And then also wanted to shout out Sam Laporta here as this dude's really come on as a rookie. Big part of the Lions and a big part of the Philly Cheekles here. Is able to get 160 points and get a much-needed win over WallessPluto.
Yeah, the flip side here, WallessPluto, they looked good themselves. Obviously, 150 points. Not going to be disappointed with that kind of effort at all. But they would come up just short in a spot where they really could have used another win. Gibbs really had himself a coming out party in this one, however. One bright spot to point to. 152 on the ground and a touchdown to add on top of that. Good for 31 points. Him and Goff on Monday Night Football were leading the campaign to try to mount a comeback against his team. And Gibbs definitely pulled his weight, but it would just not quite be enough. Maybe if some of those handoffs would have turned into the little cheese shuffle pass 2 feet in front of you, he could have racked up enough points, but that would not end up being the case. Jamar also had himself a pretty good day. We've been monitoring the Bengals a lot earlier this year, so it's good to see some production come out of him. And really just a solid day overall, a lot of consistency. Their only single-digit performance came from the kicker. So by all means, not a bad week. They do still hold on their mediocrity bowl spot for now, so that is also some positivity they can take away from this. But they keep playing like this, I do expect some wins to come for them in the future. All right, and our 4th matchup of the week, we have the people's favorite. We have your 2 co-hosts going head-to-head. And luckily, it was us over at Texas Size 10-4s able to come out with the victory, 138 to 101 over the Cleveland Steamers. For us, we were very happy to ride on the coattails of Dak in this one. Cowboys versus the Rams, that just smelled shootout all over it. We decided to give Dak a start this week. He proved us right, getting 4 touchdowns for 35 points. And then behind that, McCaffrey added 30 of his own, 1 on the ground, 1 in the air. Pretty much like it's nothing, just a standard week out of him at this point. Our next best performer out of that, Seahawks defense, able to put up 21 points of their own behind that, 2 interceptions and a forced fumble out of them. Not a ton of support from the rest of the boys. You see a few single-digit performances and a 13 on Swift. Kelsey only got 10, but he was able to do a good job of sabotaging Mahomes on the other side for us, holding him to only 7. And so, yeah, we're pretty happy with the performance we got out of the boys this week. We would have gotten a much higher score. We are still worried about Devontae Adams on the Raiders. Only 2 points on 7 targets and only 1 catch out of those 7 targets. Jimmy Garoppolo looked absolutely horrible on Monday night. We hope that the starting of Aiden O'Connell now will fix that, but it looks bad over there. We're hoping to see some improvements in the future. That's all we can really say.
Yeah, so we just want to start here by shouting out Texas Size 10 Fours for putting up a great performance this week. Always a fun matchup. We're on the wrong side of it this year, but just wanted to give you your flowers here. So on my notes here, I have same old. Injuries. This week we added an illness. We also lost another quarterback to one of our pass catchers. Honestly, I'm kind of tired of talking about it, and I'm sure you're tired of hearing about it. So let me tell you how the Cleveland Steamers can improve your team at this trade deadline. Let's talk about Deontay Johnson. Honestly, the only fun I've been having the past couple of weeks is hyping up my man because I love this guy. All right, Deontay Johnson this week. Nope. Deontay Johnson this week garnered 14 targets. This man is an absolute target hog because he gets open. All right, this guy is walking 15 points pretty much every single week, regardless of a touchdown, and the touchdowns will be coming. So if you want to make a nice improvement to your team at the deadline, nice little flex spot, we got Deontay Johnson getting sold to the highest bidder. So just make sure that you put your call in. Any playoff teams will accepting all calls.
All right, moving on to our fifth game of the week. We had PC Principal mounting a big 7th win of the season as they took down FaZe Kev in another epic shootout, 163 to 149. And for PC Principal here, it was really the usual suspects for them. The two Dolphins players, Tua and Tyreek, both getting 26 points. And then Kamara also adding 26 points to that. Really just made things a lot easier. Took a lot of the load off the rest of their lineup. Brees Hall also able to add 20 of his own. And yeah, like I said, they are able to cruise to a 7-1 win. FaZe Kev did have a good performance this week, but just the way it shook out, PC Principal getting a lot of really points. This one was never really in doubt. And I would say they're definitely the favorite to win the regular season title now, if not the whole thing. So congrats to them. We'll see if they're able to keep this going.
For FaZe Kev, 180 points, definitely not a bad week. But they had one really questionable roster decision, in my opinion. They decided to start both Chargers running backs in Austin Eckler and Joshua Kelly while leaving Javonte Williams on their bench, who in himself, I believe, scored at least close to 20 points. And with the insertion of Javonte, who has been the RB2 for pretty much the entire season, as opposed to Josh Kelly, they would have come out here with the victory. As you kind of see, like most of their team played pretty well. You got a good performance from Allen, Eckler, and Rob plays well. Jake Ferguson was able to score a touchdown. I think the Lions D played pretty well. So again, pretty solid week from Kev. Just kind of that little head scratcher from the RB2 as they're still trying to figure that position out as they've let it be known at this trade deadline here.
All right. And with that, we're going to take a look ahead at the week 9 schedule so that everyone knows what kind of action we have to look forward in the next week's video. First up, we got Texas Size 10 Fours, yours truly. We're taking on Sticky Mistakes. This is a big matchup. We've had this one circled for a little while. Both of us are part of a 3-way tie atop the Michigan division, so obviously major playoff implications in this one. Second matchup, we got PC Principal. They're sitting at 7-1, taking on Cleveland Steamers. PC Principal is going to be looking to stay hot. Nick, how are you going to find a way to give this team their second loss of the year?
Gonna need a good old-fashioned surprise this week.
All right. Also, while you're over in PC Principal, you're going to be able to investigate and find out who's been giving him waiver wire and auction advice this year now that he's no longer working with you. Because we know it's not him just solving all these problems on his own.
We believe that PC Principal is an organization of integrity and that they are receiving no outside help.
Okay. Third matchup, we got WallessPluto taking on Pams, Battle of the Evan Scholars. Back-to-back for WallessPluto here. We'll see which team's able to come up, bounce off the loss from this past week and get back on the right track. Fourth matchup, we got FaZe Kev taking on the Philly Cheekles. FaZe Kev has been playing pretty good, but running out of chances to save their season. Philly Cheekles still trying to sneak into a backdoor playoff spot. One should open up for them this week if they're able to get a win. And then a fifth matchup, we got Glizz Mafia. They're also part of that 3-way tie in the Michigan division. taking on Francy Feast. Francy Feast looking to get another win after winning this past week. And we'll take a quick look at the standings now before we get out of here. In the Michigan division, we have yours truly, Texas 7-4 is part of a three-way tie currently with Glizz, Mafia, and Sticky Mistakes. All three teams sitting at 5-3 currently. And I believe all three have the playoff spots at the moment, with these two holding the wild cards. And then behind that, WallessPluto currently sits in a mediocrity bowl spot at 3-5, and Francy is in the toilet bowl at 3-5 as well. And then in the American division, Peace Principle, first team overall in the league, 7-1. Behind them, we got the Philly Cheekles just outside the playoffs in the mediocrity bowl at 5-3. Behind them, FaZe Kev at 3-5, and then Pams and Cleveland Steamers at 2-6. All three of those teams are in the toilet bowl at the moment. And with that, we are going to sign off for the week. Nick, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Trade deadline's coming up. Give us a call.
All right, boys. Thanks again to everyone for tuning in. Make sure you come back next week for all the recap of the action that happens this upcoming weekend. Also, make sure you like the video, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And yeah, peace out, boys. Thanks for tuning in.